What's up, everyone? I'm Tatum. I'm back with another episode of Fuck This Review. I'm back from vacation. I took a week off just to spend some time with the family, and I've been going straight since late September, like 3 episodes a week. So I just took a little break, mental break, a little vacation with the family, but I'm back, and some albums have dropped in the meantime that I've been listening to and wanted to talk about. So this is one of them. Without further ado, today I'm going to be reviewing Lloyd Banks' The Course of the Inevitable. This is Banks' technically first album in over 10 years. I know we had the Cold Corners, since 2010, so that's 11 years that we haven't had an official Banks LP. Just to start, it's great to hear Lloyd Banks sound hungry and sound energized and putting his stake down in the new era of hip hop, like, because he is a legend to me. I grew up on Lloyd Banks, 50 Cent, G Unit. They were heavy in my upbringing as a child and teens and things of that nature. So it's good to see when the people I listen to release music that's actually good. You know what I mean? Like, I know that's maybe weird to say, but as far as rappers, they always like a rapper career in prime and time is a very short window compared to any musician, really. So it's just good to hear. Like, I couldn't wait to when it dropped. I couldn't wait. Even the build up for with the promotion and stuff. I was like, I can't wait to hear this new Lloyd Banks. It's pretty good. Well, I hope it's pretty good. And yeah. So let's get into it. I'm not going to go over every song. I'm just going to give my thoughts and opinions on a couple records, some things I like, some things I didn't like, just my overall take on it, and I'll give my review at the end. For those that's always on my channel, you know how this goes. For those that's new to my channel, welcome. Hopefully you enjoy what you see, and hopefully leave me a like and a subscribe. This is also his first album away from G Unit, which this is the first Lloyd Banks album that doesn't have a 50 or a G Unit member, or it still has that sound. I give him that, because like the first song, Propane, it sounds like it was great to hear. And I have to say that Lloyd Banks lyrically, he went off this album. Like, I really enjoyed his lyrical ability on here. I loved his vulnerability for some of the records. But as far as Propane, that reminded me of an old G Unit beat. It sounded very 2000-ish, if you like, very 2000s if you ask me. But I really enjoyed that aspect of it. This is the Lloyd Banks I've been waiting for. This is the Lloyd Banks we've been waiting for, and things of that nature. So it got me excited when that first record came on, Propane. Sidewalk, a continuation of that, I think is a great second track. Again, it still feels good to hear Banks like just back. And with that one, the way it starts, it sounds like it's very Griselda-like to me. I wish he would have had more features from the Griselda family, because I think Conway would have sounded crazy on this particular record. Like, it has that that Griselda sound. The piano flip is like a 2-bar kind of loop in a way. Like, the drums come in heavy. It sounded very Griselda-like, and I think how can I put this and not sound like I'm bashing anyone? I think Griselda helped a lot in this era for rappers like Lloyd Banks, because they're the resurgence of that sound, right? And they didn't invent it; they're just the resurgence of it. And it kind of messed me up. I was like, oh, this sounds like a Griselda thing, but it's still like a Lloyd Banks G Unit sound, New York sound. But you have to give those boys credit for putting that sound back into mainstream, for lack of better words. Empathy with Freddie Gibbs, man, that was a fucking dope record. I just enjoy the, like, Lloyd Banks getting in the ring with some of the newer acts, even though, Freddie Gibbs been around for a minute, but we never seen them collab, or at least I never heard them collab until this particular record. And some of the things that I noticed about the Banks song with the features, and some of this solo records as well, but it's like when he gets a feature from, let's say it's Benny, who has a dope feature, or Rock Marcy, or Ransom, or Freddie Gibbs, he always comes in with the third verse to like let you know, like, yeah, but I'm still, don't forget. Like, I think some of the songs could have been trimmed down. He could have just had those two verses, and I think that would have been great. But it's not my album. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the lyrical sparring. From Mile to High with Benny the Butcher, they sound great together. I think that sound is not too far from either one's range, and they both killed it to me. That beat was hard. I enjoyed that record. So, like, the album starting off, like, the first 5 records are really bangers. Like it's like, oh shit, I forgot how great Lloyd Banks actually was, because he'd been gone for 11 years. So Death by Design, Styles P verse sounds like he was having fun when he knew, because people know Lloyd Banks' lyrical ability and they don't show up to get they're not going to show up with some bullshit. And Styles P, I loved his verse because it really, for lack of better words, it sounded like he was having fun with the shit. Like that part was really dope. It sounded like he was having fun, so I enjoyed that. Lloyd Banks killed it again. Crown's dope. Falsified with Ransom. Yeah. And I heard that was the record Joe Budden was supposed to be on, but you know how he is. Break Me Down. I think the second half of the album, even though he touches on things in the first, I think the first half of the album was more the like lyrics, let me show you that I haven't lost a step. But I think the second half of the album, it starts to get a little bit more personal. We get into like relationships with Commitment or Bring Me Down. And I ain't gonna lie, it's a couple songs on here I just wish, like, damn, 50 did this hook. Oh, this beat. It's a beat on here that sounds exactly like a 50 Cent beat. The record Early Exit, it reminds me of a 50 Cent record that I think I can hear your heartbeat, you're scared. Not off Before I Started to Struggle. I think it was off the Animal Ambition mixtape. But it sounds just like that. And I was like, damn, that would have been dope to have, Rock Marcy, Lloyd Banks, and 50 Cent on a hook. That would have been really dope. Pain and Pressure is a dope record as well. But speaking of which, Stranger Things, if anyone didn't catch that, like, you could clearly tell those were like, I wouldn't say shots, but towards 50, but they're Lloyd Banks' side of the story, and which was good to hear. But I'm surprised nobody's actually talking about Stranger Things more. That's a great record. Just being a fan of the growing up on G-Unit, like I said, and just because 50 Cent has songs where he talks about maybe he was too insensitive to Lloyd Banks and things of that nature, and Lloyd Banks giving his side of the story. And yeah, I just, the fan in me is like, damn, I wish those two would just work it out and just put all that bullshit behind them. But those two grown men, and 50's a cancer, so I understand that. Again, on Pain and Pressure, I'm going to go back to it. He has a line that says, I'm cool with you, but who's your man? Forget I asked. Just make sure that my first time seeing him is my last. I was like, ooh. And he has a lot of lines like that. It's not so much PLK anymore. It's more like storytelling for me. Like it's the story within the rhyme. So you hear him talk about his kids. You hear him talk about the things with 50. You hear the relationship side. You hear having it all and losing it all. You hear that in this. And I don't think I ever got that side of Lloyd Banks before. So I really enjoyed that. Smoke and Mirrors, Dishonorable Discharge, and the title track was the last track. I don't know why he did the title track as the last track. I think that should have been in the middle. Bad side of it, because I can't do this without mentioning some of the things, my gripes. I think it's too long, too many records. Some of the records are too long. Like I said, him coming in behind the rappers to do the third verse, because third verses rarely exist anymore. So it's cool in that nature, but it kind of drags on. I think if he would have narrowed it down to about 13 tracks, it would have been dope. 10, 13 tracks. And some of the hooks were lackluster, but I think that's just Lloyd Banks' tone. Like, he has that tone that's just straight through. It's no excitement in it, for me at least. But those are my only gripes with it. Let me get into my best songs. Best songs, I'm gonna go with Empathy, Formaldehyde, and Commitment. There's some other joints on here that I mentioned. I like Drop 5 as well. There's some other ones on here I really like. I like Panic. I forgot to mention Panic. Panic is one of those records. It was dope because it was good to hear Lloyd Banks in the newer time. Like, that's a newer time beat. That could have been, it just sounded new and fresher. So I appreciate that record. One of my favorites as well. Worst song, Dishonorable Discharge. I think track 17, I heard him tell this story already within the album, those emotions and what he was trying to convey. Vado, I'm not really a big fan of Vado, so that song just like gets thrown under the bus for me. Best line, he says, death to a hater, can't even be here in spirit. Kill a nigga, set up his GoFundMe and steal it. I was like, oh my gosh. And that was on the first track. So I was like, God damn, Banks, this shit is about to be crazy. As far as fucks given for Lloyd Banks' new album, I'll give it a 3 out of 5 fucks given. I wasn't necessarily blown away by anything, and I wasn't let down by anything. So it's right in that middle area. Let's wrap this shit up, though.
Being light was never in my list of plans.
In closing, I enjoyed this album for the most part. I did have my gripes with it, like I mentioned. Maybe too long, songs too long, too many verses. I know that's crazy. Uh, and I would like to see him with better producers. Like I think it's time for him to go get with the Mad Libs, go get with the Alchemists, get with the Havocs. Because I'm pretty sure, get with the Primos. Like we need to hear Lloyd Banks' album that has great production. It's that time. It's kind of, I'm kind of over the up and coming producer kind of thing, and they beats are dope. But we need that we need that at least EPs. Like we need him with some of the best producers ever. That was also one of my gripes with it. Overall, though, it's just good to see Lloyd Banks back. I read that he said this is just a warm up, so hopefully, but all rappers say that this is a warm up and then they never come back. So hopefully, this is the beginning of something like just to keep them going. You know what I mean? Because it's good to have the legends and greats resurgence, and the game is still spitting, so that's pretty dope. But that's pretty much it, man. As always, if you like what you saw, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Let me know how you feel in the comments. What were some of your favorite records on here? Some standout lines to you? Do you think it was too long? Do you think you need to get with more established producers for the next projects? Let me know in the comments. As always, though, fuck this review. I'm Tatum. Peace. I'm back.